Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, I'm going to react to British Thanksgiving ain't got nothing on American Thanksgiving. Now, I didn't even know that we had a Thanksgiving. I genuinely didn't know that. This is completely new to me. I always thought Thanksgiving was a completely American thing, almost kind of like Christmas. Like the Thanksgiving meal, from what I've seen, involves a turkey, loads of things, trimmings and such, like mashed potato and things like that. Kind of similar to a Christmas dinner, but with a few differences. I think do you give gifts on Thanksgiving? I don't think you give gifts, and Thanksgiving I think is in November, like late November, so it's pretty close to Christmas too. So it's going to be interesting to first learn about the British Thanksgiving and then to see the differences between the British one and the American one. And Lawrence is going to be probably the best person for this job. Lawrence of Lost in the Pond, his channel's fantastic. I'm sure this is going to be a great video. Let's do it.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond. And one of those memos pertains to Thanksgiving. This week will be my 13th Thanksgiving in the US,
wow,
and in those years one thing has become abundantly clear. Britain's Thanksgiving ain't got nothing on America. Now wait, Lawrence, whoa there, back up the truck. Did you just use the words Britain and Thanksgiving in the same sentence?
Dude.
Have you been at the bourbon again? And the short answer is yes, but that's irrelevant. While a national holiday by the name of Thanksgiving is normally associated with Canada, Brazil, Liberia, the US, its territories, and the island nation of St. Lucia, the holiday has its roots in Old English traditions.
What?
You see, the Pilgrims brought many things to North America, the English language, scurvy, but they also brought the idea of giving thanks for one's blessings and celebrating harvests with a feast. Granted, Spanish settlers in Florida had already celebrated their own version of Thanksgiving years earlier, but it was that 1621 feast celebrated by Pilgrims and Native Americans that ultimately kick-started the Thanksgiving we know today. In Britain, celebrations of thanks remain in the 21st century in the form of Harvest Festival. And this is where churches lay out baskets of homegrown food during a rendition of Neil Young's Harvest Moon. What? This is where churches lay out baskets of homegrown food during the actual Harvest Moon.
Okay, so for what I've gathered, we don't have a Thanksgiving, but we kind of invented the concept of Thanksgiving, which kind of makes sense considering the British influence on early America.
Hymns and prayers are recited to mark the occasion, and churchgoers give thanks for food grown in the UK. But to get a sense of how widely celebrated UK Harvest Festival is, you just need to use the scientific method. Count the paragraphs on its Wikipedia page. A mere couple. So when I say that Britain's Thanksgiving ain't got nothing on America, I don't mean it's less important. I just mean it's slightly smaller in scope. And pecan pie. Sticking with the science,
smaller.
The Wikipedia page for US Thanksgiving has 96 paragraphs plus 2 bulleted lists. And America, be thankful that I really was sad enough to count them all. But I don't need the internet to tell me this, I've lived it. While my experience of a UK Harvest Festival is confined to one brief incident in 1988, my American experience is one of 13 Novembers, 2 states, and 415 family members.
So it's fair to say he's qualified on the American Thanksgiving. 13 of them.
The day itself kicks off with what I like to call the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade. That's actually just its name. And it's this huge televised spectacle in Manhattan. And with the notable exception of this year, crowds line the streets to cheer on marching bands, pop stars, and a highly intoxicated Al Roker. There's dancing, singing, and a huge terrifying Ronald McDonald. My biggest fear with those floats is that New Yorkers would be completely oblivious if the real Stay Puft Marshmallow Man returned. And while we have the concept of parades in the UK, they will never be on this scale, unless that is my country ever wins the World Cup again, but I repeat myself.
Man, if England won the World Cup, that's the Football World Cup, it would be pandemonium. It would probably be the biggest, like celebration this country has ever seen. Like, it would be insane.
As with the UK's Harvest Festival, there's food involved, and sure, just like the UK, charities and churches do help organise Thanksgiving meals for vulnerable populations. Good work. But unlike the UK, the food also makes its way to the dinner tables of most families throughout the land. It's a time when we all come together and give thanks for a bountiful harvest, even if our full stomachs refuse to do the same. A typical menu consists of food indigenous to the Americas, so turkey, stuffing, green beans, cranberry sauce, pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie, and a bag of Funyuns if I'm feeling brave. Back home, the nearest equivalent to this is probably...
What are Funyuns? Like, I'm guessing they're onions of some kind. Fried onions? It's got to be fried onions.
Probably the Christmas meal, which is also the nearest equivalent to America's Christmas meal, but more on that in December. And even though I'll be staying at home with the wife and cat this year, that won't stop the three of us from watching planes, trains and automobiles. And if you think that a certain someone might get distracted by a toy mouse 5 minutes in, my cat is here to keep me in check. All right, Kafka, what are you thankful for this year?
That is a gorgeous
subscribers. Me too. Without all 183,000 of you, this channel would be nothing. Your subscribers, he thinks he's got his own channel. What? When? Really?
Those meows have definitely been inserted.
Well, when does this mysterious channel of yours launch? Right after this video. Are you being serious? Anyway, Planes, Trains and Automobiles has the rare distinction of being a film about Thanksgiving. But even though I had a VHS of the film since about the age of 8, I always had this idea that Steve Martin's character was in fact trying to get home for Christmas. And
do you guys have certain movies that you watch at Thanksgiving, and Christmas? Like for me, like Christmas movies include probably Elf and Eddie Murphy Coming to America. Like every Christmas we watch those two movies. Like what are your Thanksgiving movies and your Christmas movies?
And that Thanksgiving just meant giving presents. And it's a little bit amazing how much this film resonates once you've actually lived in the United States, specifically in my case, the Midwest. Because little did I know it when I lived back in England, but the film is a send-up of how much we really do travel during the Thanksgiving holiday. Each Thanksgiving, millions of Americans travel across or from out of state in what is among the busiest travel times in the year.
To be with
and
family.
In addition to all of that travel, Americans spend big. Every year, tens of billions of dollars are recorded on Thanksgiving-related expenditures. And sadly, at least $2 of that does go toward Funyuns. All right, but just so we're clear, I'm busy with my own stuff. I can't help you with this, all right? Here we go.
Because if you do, it's kind of basically Christmas, isn't it?
You enjoy it, you gotta look over here. But even when the day of Thanksgiving is over, the spending is not. And that's because the 20th century introduced a concept called Black Friday. And this is where shoppers queue up around the corner of major retailers to get discounted rates on anything from dishwashers to the long discounted films of Tom Selleck. My first experience of Black Friday was literally weeks after I moved here, and my wife, apparently eager to indoctrinate me in the ways of American capitalism, dragged me out to Target at 7 a.m. in freezing temperatures.
Do you guys really get good deals on Black Friday? Like here, the deals we get aren't very good, honestly. Like it's all for the products that nobody really wants either. Like you're never going to see like an iPhone discounted by 10 or 20%. It's always like some random TV that no one's ever heard of the manufacturer. Like I'm sure you guys probably get better deals than we do.
Around bloodthirsty shoppers.
Like, what's the
only
best
discount I
on
wanted
Black
that
Friday?
day was on plane tickets back to England. But in hindsight, that might not have been the best idea, because at some point in the last 12 years, just like McDonald's, rock and roll, and Gillian Anderson, Black Friday made its way to Britain. And even though the Thanksgiving context doesn't exist there, this began happening there because American retail giants like Amazon started introducing the concept around the world. Now, it used to be in Britain that the big day for sales was the day after Christmas, Boxing Day. But in 2017, for the very first time, these American-inspired November discounts outpaced those of December. That said, per capita, America still leads the two countries when it comes to Black Friday weekend expenditures. Speaking of Boxing Day, that's the day after Christmas when some Brits enjoy the day's football action, unencumbered by the stresses of work.
Football
and in this respect, British Boxing Day's nearest American equivalent is, well, Thanksgiving. And that's because even though it's a different type of football, a lot of Americans tune in to the big NFL games of the day. And since someone asked me on Twitter which teams I'm rooting for tomorrow, I know nothing about the NFL, but I do foresee victories for the Texans, the Lions, Washington, and the Cowboys. And if I'm at least 50% correct, I think that makes me a genius. Follow the whisker reel right here on YouTube and catch his first, second video right here tonight. Now, as ever, I'm also thankful for all of my patrons who have made this channel what it is today. Without you, I could not have achieved.
Fun video. Pretty much what I suspected. You know, the UK Thanksgiving isn't really Thanksgiving in the American sense. It's more of a, we kind of created the initial idea of it. And you guys have made it into the thing that we know Thanksgiving to be. And it's kind of cool just to learn about the different holidays, you know, that we have, that you guys have. Like Boxing Day is a huge thing here. We usually, like, families will typically eat what's left of the Christmas dinner, turn it into like sandwiches, watch the football, get drunk. That whole period from Christmas Eve to New Year's Day is just a complete bonanza. Like, time almost kind of warps and you forget what day it is because you're just so full of food and drink and merriment. It's just absolutely amazing. But yeah, I definitely want to experience an American Thanksgiving just to, you know, get a feel for like real American culture and stuff. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll be in the States this around that time. It would be really, really cool. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.